Now, in terms of the Windrush children and what's recently happened in Britain, what we know is that they seem to have been caught up in new policies that have been run by our Home Office, what's been referred to quite openly in public discourse as a hostile environment for immigration. This was a very interesting group of people because they were invited to Britain after World War II to help with rebuilding the economy. I have many relatives who came over to Britain in that generation, and I have relatives who are Windrush children as well. And the thing is, for a while, you know, many of them went through very, very difficult experiences. They also fall into the category of immigrants in Britain who we know tended to do worse than their first generation. That tends to be quite a common factor across many migrant communities, where the arriving generation does as well as might be expected, but then their children start to fall behind. And that was certainly true of the Windrush generation. So there's some very interesting things here. In any kind of gathering of two people from the Caribbean or more, inevitably the conversation is going to get around to the many wrongs that have been done to you over the decades in Britain, whether it's the experience that you had in the school system, which, I mean, there's some real tragedies, encounters with healthcare, encounters dealing with mental health, trying to get access to jobs, etc., trying to climb the social ladder. In many ways, this is an entire generation of people who feel that Britain really hasn't looked out for them, but at least this was their home. And even now, this last vestige has now been taken away from them. The problem, I feel, is that the government has now added insult to injury by saying, hang on, after all of the public fuss, we are now coming out and we're saying sorry that this happened. We're very sorry that people have been caught up in the immigration net. We're very sorry that potentially people have been deported, even though we don't know of anyone who has been deported. And as part of making good, what we'll do is we'll offer you these biometric identity cards, which we're giving to other kinds of immigrants, even though you're actually British. I don't understand that. And I think that people who have been calling out for compensation, people like David Lammy, who, you know, represents many of the sorts of people who have been affected, I really would like to see them go further, because I think the biometric card is in itself adding insult to injury. I think that this is a group of people who ought to be given their naturalization and their British passports, and they should be given those documents for free. They should not have to go through the application process that other people are required to go through. I don't think they should be sitting any exams to prove that they're British, because they've already taken the harshest exam ever given to citizens of Britain. And I think that's what they deserve. I don't think that they should be walking around with cards that say, well, you're almost kind of able to be here until we change our mind and we take the card back from you. We are talking about a fairly large group of people. And we're talking about the people who are directly affected by this are the children who arrived, who are now, you know, many of them sort of now in their 60s, etc. But their children are in turn very angry as well. And they probably understand the British system, how it works, the various leverage points, etc. They've been involved in some of the sorts of campaign activities that we've seen in Britain recently. You know, campaigns that have been transported across the Atlantic and have been quite vibrant here, such as Black Lives Matter, etc. You know, the grandchildren are very au fait with how social media campaigning works. They have actually been very effective in helping to bring some of these stories to light. So I think that's probably where the opportunity lies. I think the generation who have been most deeply affected by this, I would imagine many of them are too traumatized necessarily even to take action themselves. Some of them may be able to do so, but I think their children, so the grandchildren of the Windrush generation, probably stand ready to do something about this. And I think there are many pockets in society who are not directly involved, but see this as a matter of great national shame. So I think we probably are on the cusp of something about to happen here. I would think that there are many people at Goldsmiths who are really just very, very eager to help, organize and to make sure that this group is compensated on different levels. I think this isn't just about the money, but the money is going to be very important. It's giving them the status from from documentation that proves that they are finally British once and for all.